Welcome back to the Business Partner tutorial series, and we're going to be talking about the dashboard in this tutorial. So as you can see on the screen capture that I'm displaying, first I want to point out that I'm running in a large format or widescreen format, so I'm not certain how well you'll be able to see this, but hopefully it'll be clear if you make full screen. That's my intention, is for you to watch it in a full screen mode. But the buttons you see here, company info, preferences, users, and upgrade, are what we're going to cover today on this particular video. Company info is where your company information is stored, and you have control of all of the fields on this pop-up screen with the exception of your company name. We will enter that when we set you up, and that will be hard-coded into the program, but you can add your own logo and type in the contact name for the person at your company that's the key person in estimating, and then your mailing address, billing address, and all of these other address fields. Also state license if it's relevant. I know in California they have to have that on their estimates and proposals, so that's why that's there. And also you'll notice we're using a pop-up here. We're using a lot of pop-ups in this new generation of Business Partner as opposed to separate screens, to keep your orientation, to not send you all over the place to do simple tasks, and to save the real estate. Preferences, this is not new to Business Partner. This was part of the old version, but it is a very critical part of what we do. You have several items here. You have preferred default markups, preferred default terms, preferred default materials, and preferred default hardware. Each of those items we'll go over in detail on separate videos. But understand here what you're choosing is which of those items. You can create as many items on each of these lists as you desire. In this case we have 4 items: typical builder markups in a multi-payment environment versus typical builder markups in a net 30 or net 10 or whatever your particular terms are. And then we have typical design showroom. So you could have individuals, builders, different pricing structures that the markups mark the cabinets up more for, say, a remodeling type homeowner situation as opposed to a remodeling type builder that's going to use you over and over and over again. But you're choosing here, you're not creating these default markups here, you're just choosing the one that you want each new job when you start it to default to, and you can still change it at the job level. This doesn't lock you into anything, just saves you a little time in that every time a job starts you'll load the selection that is most common for you and your company. And again, once you get to the job level you can choose any of the items on the list, but if you have these set well and you do have some consistency from markups, terms, materials, and hardware, then you'll find that you're saving time, and the ones that are most common for you are there when you start those new jobs. This field right here is brand new for us, and this was part of, in the old version it just simply said delivery, and it was on your estimates and proposals, and it had the fee, and of course that delivery, there's a lot of things involved in delivery. So what we've done is giving you the ability to create the description rather than it just being delivery. You can now describe what all's involved in delivery, so that if it's an $800 delivery, they don't feel like that's a lot of money for you to just drive to their house with the cabinets. You got to kind of educate them on the fact of the matter is we have to blanket wrap these cabinets and load them and transport them and unload them and pack them into the house. And you can make this as descriptive as you like, whatever will fit on that line in the estimate and proposal. We also have a new feature here called Suspend Automatic Recalculation, and we'll talk about that later in the program. Also have users. Users are new to this version, and we'll spend a lot of time talking about users in another video, setting up users. But here is where you would have users, and there's just 2 privilege sets: administration and sales, and we'll talk about that in that user video. And the upgrade button will not show in your version, so we don't need to talk about that. That's something we use in a hosted environment. We have the ability to upgrade your software. So on this particular page we've covered these 3 buttons that are important to you, and then there's a 4th button, exit, which is self-evident what it does. Second thing you're seeing up here is a recent jobs area, and here we have a little search filter, show jobs within the last 60 days. So if we change this to say 365 days, every job that we've had any interaction with, or we've changed something within that job in the last 365 days will show up. If we set this to 30 days, I doubt mine will show anything. And so when we set it to 60, we see that 3 of those jobs are showing up. All of your jobs are simply right here under the jobs button. If you click that, you see all the jobs that you have in the program. And obviously with this just being a test version, I don't have a lot. But at the dashboard level, this is the closest thing we have to a main menu. And so we're trying to give you a screen that is kind of that splash opening screen that will give you a launching place. So if you're going to go work on the Chapman project, you just click on it here and go to the job. So that's the Horse and Pony show for the dashboard, and our next video will be the user setup. And so join us then. Thanks for joining us on this one.